Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 2022 Toyota Tundra Limited to a 2022 Ford F-150 Lariat. These trucks are pretty close in price, so it'll be a really good comparison. Now, before we get into the comparison, I do want to mention if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, I'm going to include a link to my car buying guide in the description down below. I will be increasing the price of the guide by a little bit in the next few weeks, so if you want to get it at a lower price, I recommend getting it right away. Let's get right into the video. Starting under the hood of the F-150, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 400 horsepower and then 500 pound-feet of torque. You can also get like a 5-liter V8 under the hood. You can get that engine, not the 5-liter V8, but the twin-turbo V6 with a hybrid system as well. And so there's quite a few different powertrain options. Now, popping under the hood of the Tundra, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that has 389 horsepower, then 479 pound-feet of torque. It's actually technically 3.445 liters, not 3.5. But anyways, you can get this and then this engine with a hybrid system. No V8s are available with the new Tundra like you can get in the F-150. Now, popping to the front end of the F-150, this one's a Lariat with the Sport package, which I think is a really cool package because it kind of just makes everything look a little bit sportier, hence the name, right? So notice with the LED lights and then the accent light that continues there into the body painted bumper. And then notice how that kind of flows with the parking sensors and then how the grille is darker in coloration. And then you guys can see kind of how the hood flows. But notice not a lot of chrome with the Sport package on the front end. And then popping to the Tundra, this one's a limited with the TRD off-road package. So first off, this red I feel like is just a signature color of the new Tundra because like every limited you see is in this color. But you guys can see here with the LED lights and the daytime running light that's kind of like situated in that whole section. Definitely looks cool. It doesn't pop up on a camera very well, the daytime running light, but it looks really cool from an aesthetic perspective. And notice with the front bumper, kind of how that's all shaped, and it's more squared off, right? You've got a massive front grille with the TRD logo off to the side, and then it's got a sensor and then a camera there on the front end as well. And overall, you know, it's a good looking truck from a front end perspective. Definitely a big grille, we will say that. Now popping into the side of the Ford, I believe this one's got the FX4 off-road package on it. So you've got the off-road tires and wheels that it's like the base off-road tires and wheels for an F-150, right? Not on a Raptor level, but you know, still aggressive all-terrain tires. You can see the front suspension. Got your F-150 Lariat badge there, and then you can see here with the mirror and then the full side profile. Yeah, there you go. There's our FX4 sticker to let us know. But you know, pretty good stance there from a side perspective. And then you can see the shocks here in the rear. And the F-150 still utilizes leaf springs for most of the trucks. And then notice here with the Tundra. So we've got 20-inch wheels with the TRD off-road package, which is kind of interesting because that F-150 has 18-inch wheels, which are better for off-road use because you can have a little bit more sidewall. But, you know, pretty good setup. We've got Bilstein shocks that come with the TRD off-road package. And you guys can see the front suspension there. Bilstein shocks are in blue, which definitely looks cool, right? And then notice here with the fender flare, that's kind of like squared off, right? And then you've got rock rails here on the side, which also helps out with off-road capability. And then you guys can see the tire and wheel setup there in the rear, identical to the front. Now, a big change with the new Tundra is that you've got coil suspension in the back now. So no more leaf springs, which coil suspension helps out a massive amount with ride quality, and then also from an off-road perspective, since these both have off-road packages, it helps out with off-roading as well. Go watch my Tundra review off-road if you guys want to see kind of how that does. Anyways, here's the key fob with the F-150. So first off, you can see you saw you had remote start and tailgate drop down. It's automatic, all that. You got the measuring charts here in the back of the tailgate, and then notice the LED lights are in the bed and the full power outlet, cargo light there at the top as well. And then this does have Ford's bed step system, and then it has the auto raise with the tailgate as well, which is definitely pretty fancy, right? It's crazy that we live in a world where trucks need that to be considered luxury. But notice Ford logo, F-150, And then you've got the LED tail lamps. Again, that FX4 off-road badge. Exhaust tip poking out the side. You can see the parking sensors. And then just notice how like sturdy the Ford exhaust tip looks. I'm just mentioning that just in case. Anyways, here's the key fob for the Tundra. The remote start function is buried in the lock function, so you just have to like press it multiple times and hold it, and then that's what will remote start it. But what you guys will notice here with the rear of this truck, I believe this one had like a tonneau cover on it, and so it didn't want to drop down with the tailgate drop down function, if I remember right. This review I filmed was months and months ago, so it's hard to remember. But anyways, notice we have protection here from the factory, so you don't have to worry about scraping paint or anything like that. And it's interesting, Toyota like switches on and off with their vehicles. Some vehicles they'll do composite beds, and others they'll do bed liner. It's kind of interesting that they go back and forth instead of just, you know, sticking with one format or the other. I just always thought that was kind of interesting with their trucks. You guys are probably wondering payload. Tundra has lower payload on average. I've seen a lot of these Tundras, and it seems like they're in that 1,200 to 1,400 pound range, whereas the F-150s seem to be in that like 1,400 to 1,600 pound range for most of their packages. Notice the new taillights, and then you can see here with the Tundra logo, and then down below here with the bumper, you got a little bit of chrome accenting on it, and you know, overall it's a boxier design on the rear end, but I think it looks good. So like this definitely looks larger, right, from a aesthetic perspective. And notice again with the splash guards there in the back, which I actually appreciate. It helped them out. They help out quite a bit. But look at the exhaust tip. It doesn't look like, it's like a lot thinner, right? And so it doesn't, I don't know, just doesn't look as like sturdy as the one on the F-150, even though, I mean, I'm sure they're both the same, but it's just something that I thought was interesting. But anyways, here's the door panel in the rear of the Lariat. This one has the two-tone door panel, which I really like the coloration with that. And then Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's a great sound system. And you can see here with the seats themselves, really cool with the design. Notice the piping as well on the seat. And then this one has the fixed side steps, so you can see legroom there, and then headroom. And then notice the cup holders. And then you can see here down below with all of the charging ports as well. And then pulling this down, you can see cup holder armrest. And going from that back over to the Tundra, you can see here definitely more of a utilitarian look from an aesthetic perspective, right? The F-150 has gone more for that techie luxury appearance, whereas this, you can see with the material use and how they shape everything, it's definitely gone more towards, and especially look at the patterning on the seat, like more of that, like I said, utilitarian military type theme. It seems like what they're trying to do with the new Tundra. No side steps, so got to kind of hop in, right? But no, legroom's good. And then headroom as well. I will say that the Tundra doesn't seem like it has as much space in the backseat as what the F-150 has from a space perspective. You can see a couple cup holders as well. And then, of course, we have our cup holder armrest situation. Very important. Now, popping here to the front of the F-150, you can see again you got that two-tone design on the door panel. Looks great. All of the window controls and then the mirror adjustments. It's got memory seats. Blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. And then you can see the dark trim there at the top. Looks great. Another speaker for the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Then here's the front seat. You can see again with the cool design there in the center with the perforations, and then again the piping. I think the seats look great in the F-150. Pedal layout, and then you guys can see pedal adjustment, light controls. You've got the mirror lights and then the drop down for the tailgate, as well as the steering wheel adjustment. Now popping here to the front of the Tundra. Again, here's with the padding on the door panel. Again, notice that more utilitarian design and layout on everything. And then also, you can see with the mirrors, you can get blind spot monitoring with the Tundra too. Again, with the seats. Now you guys are probably wanting seat comfort. The Tundra seats definitely are firmer. So if you like a firmer seat, Tundra. If you want a softer seat, F-150. Love the pedals on the Tundra. I think they look great. And you can see a bunch of controls here off to the side. So main stuff, right, is like with your collision assistance right there. But anyway, steering wheel is manually adjustable. And since I didn't give a full side view earlier in the review, here's your full side view of the new Tundra, which I think is its best angle is actually from the side, not from the front or from the back. Popping back into the F-150 here, you can see the cool animation. Takes forever to load up sometimes with the F-150s, especially if it's cold outside. And then you can see here with the steering wheel, Notice all the practical controls for like the center stack, cruise control. It does have adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist that is like a steering assistance, basically. I've got it on my Raptor, and I use it all the time, so it's a great system. And then you guys can see here with the full digital gauge cluster. Notice you got all the different view bits of information you can see there, and you got your My View mode, which is what I use in my truck all the time. And then drive modes. Now, for this version of the F-150, you guys can see you've got tons of different off-road modes. Main one's probably right normal, and then sport if you're going to do some sporty driving on road. And then as for the off-road modes, it's cool. It's like a little shortcut, but I usually just, this is weird, I usually just put it in like sport mode and then do stuff manually myself, like put it in 4-wheel low, traction control off, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, you can see here with the center infotainment system, we've got a really good camera system, so full 360 camera system, tons of viewpoints all over, or you can see out of every single angle of the truck. New F-150 has nailed it from a camera system perspective, and so I think that's just a job well done. And resolution's also really good on the camera as well. That's another big plus with the new F-150 that I really appreciate is, yeah, just the quality of everything. As for the rest of the infotainment system, you've got that shortcut section there on the bottom, and then you've got that side section there, which is kind of like an auxiliary screen portion, right? And response time on the screen is great. I like how it's integrated into the dash as well. It actually looks like it was, the truck was intended to have the screen, which I think is a big plus. Got the trailer backup system, trailer brake controls. Now, being a Lariat, it has 4-wheel high as well as 4-wheel auto. Locker in the rear with the FX4 package. So, tons of off-road goodies, right? And then you've got your analog controls for the radio, climate controls. It has dual zone climate, heated, cooled seats for the front. And then notice you got the little storage space right there you can cover up, which is pretty good. Couple cup holders. Got the shifter for that 10-speed automatic, which you can fold down. And then notice here with the center console, you've got all of the brown trim there in the center, which I think looks great. Storage space is also good in the center console with the F-150. Then dual glove box, which I like the finishes on a lot of the surfaces with the F-150. I think they just look nice aesthetically. Even if they don't feel nice, right? They don't feel like nice and smooth. They look nice. And then this particular one, I think had full panoramic sunroof if I remember correctly. Now, here's the window sticker on it. A little bit of glare, so it's kind of hard to see everything. But the main thing is the price, $62,500 for the total MSRP on that F-150. Popping back over to the Tundra. Again, you can see more towards that utilitarian side of things. And first off, with the steering wheel, this is the same steering wheel that you can get in a lot of packages with the Tundra, whether it's limited like this or a more loaded up package like the new Capstone edition. And a bunch of practical controls on the steering wheel. It does have cruise control, it does have steering assist just like the F-150, so they're pretty much the same from that perspective. Then, of course, you got your stocks there in the back of the steering wheel as wheel. Now, gauge cluster. You can get a full digital gauge cluster, but obviously in this comparison, this one doesn't. So you can see you've got a little screen there in the center, and you got the analog gauges on either side. And this is just my personal opinion. I think both of the digital gauge clusters are pretty awesome with both the trucks, but I think that this base gauge cluster is not as nice as the F-150's base gauge cluster. I think the F-150's base gauge cluster looks a little bit nicer, but notice a couple different drive mode, well, 3 to be exact: normal, sport, eco. It's interesting, this is the Tier D off-road, but there isn't like an off-road specific mode with that little drive mode select. Which Toyota kind of like splits up their drive modes, which I've always thought is interesting. I'll show that to you guys in a second. But I wish that, again, this is like another thing. I think that they should just have the drive modes all in one like selector rather than having it kind of like split up, right? Anyways, camera system just as good as the F-150, if not better. Resolution's great, tons of camera viewpoints. And having taken this truck off-road now, I can tell you that I really appreciate all of the different angles and everything with the cameras, because it basically makes it so like off-road you can spot yourself, which you can't necessarily do with a lot of full-size trucks. And there's your off-road view that really helps out. So that was something that I really appreciated taking this truck off-road, which was impressive. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, you've got like the shortcut buttons there on the side, and then you've got, basically a giant tablet view screen. Now, this doesn't look as integrated into the dash because it kind of pops up a little bit, but I still think it looks pretty decent, right, from an interior perspective. I'm not really going to complain too much about the looks and of the screen, because functionality on it is great. It's got good response time, and it's easy enough to, you know, it's user friendly overall, which is what you want out of an infotainment, you know, a modern infotainment system like this. Now down below we've got dual zone climate controls, heated cooled seats, you know, all that normal luxury truck stuff. Locker for the rear, just like the F-150. Hazard lights, stability control, and then notice camera button. Turn that on. Gives that weird 360 view that looks like out of an old video game. Then your trailer backup assist, basically, right there. So it'll let you know that, well, you don't have anything that you're hooked up to, so this isn't going to work. But it's a good system, right? Both of them have similar systems. Anyways, we've got the shifter for that 10-speed automatic transmission. If you guys are wondering, both the 10 speeds are solid. The Ford's in the Raptor is more responsive, but anyways, driveline select here, we've got no 4-wheel auto. And then notice here, we got the drive mode select, we got the tow haul mode outside of the drive mode select, which is kind of weird. And then you have like your multi-terrain select, which is like your off-road mode, then your hill descent control. So like they have different, it's like all separated, which some of you might like that, but I'm like, just put it all in the same, like where I can just twist the dial and go to the drive mode, where I don't have to like click on different things. I don't know, that's just me. Love the center console in the Tundra though. How you've got that window view, I think that is really cool. And you can see the storage space there. So I think they've done a really good job with that. And then glove box. It's big. Doesn't have a top glove box though, like in the F-150. You got nice padding there on that portion of the dash. No sunroof or anything with this one. This does have the camera mirror though, which I think is a very good safety feature to have in a vehicle overall. And then we do have the power steering window where the whole window goes down rather than just part of the window like in the F-150. So that's another big benefit with the Tundra over the F-150. Now here's the window sticker. You can see this one a lot better. If you're going to get a Tundra, I recommend getting the TRD Off-Road if you're not getting the TRD Pro. Definitely worth it just with how it looks. And anyways, $60,000, almost $61,000 for the price. So they're very close in price. Here's what I have to say. From an acceleration perspective, the F-150 does feel a little bit quicker. It is a lighter truck and has more power, so that just makes sense. But I will say with the new coil suspension in the Tundra, it does seem to stay a little bit more planted over bumps. Now, I've only taken a Raptor off-road. I've never taken a regular F-150 off-road. Ford, if you're watching this, send me out an F-150 so I can test it off-road seriously. But I can tell you with the Tundra off-road is with that coil suspension, it flexes, it's just amazing with the flex, and it's very comfortable, and it's a really capable off-road truck, even though it doesn't have 4-wheel auto, and even though it's annoying to use the off-road drive modes, it's very, very capable with this off-road package. And then, you know, for the rest of the stuff, exterior looks, that's just going to depend on which truck you like more. The Tundra's got that wider, boxier look, whereas the F-150 has this, like, you know, thinner, sleeker look. So it just depends what you like aesthetically from that perspective. And then in terms of the interior, right, Toyota has that more utilitarian interior, and then the F-150 has that more modern, techie, luxury interior. So again, it's just going to depend on what you like from that perspective. And so, yeah, you know, they're stacked up pretty close. There's some benefits and downsides to both of them. So I want you guys to let me know which one you would choose in the comment section below. And that's all.